excited, and I'm going to bring out the cast, and as well as writers and creator, executive producer. First up, we have Mr. Ty White.
Woo!
Then next we have the lovely Deborah Joy Winans.
Yes.
Fabulous, eternal beauty, Miss Lynn Whitfield.
All right, Lynn Whitfield.
Next we have series writer Erica Anderson. We also have Mr. Craig Wright, executive producer and creator of the show. Merle Dandridge, lead for Greenleaf. Mr. Greg Allen Williams. We have Pete Davis. And finally we have Tim Hawthorne. All right, Cass, welcome. So we just saw a sneak peek of Greenleaf Season 2, and I just wanted to throw out the first question. So, as we said, Greenleaf had an amazing first season, #1 debut on OWN, 3 million viewers, lots of energy, positive reviews from the press and the fans. Now you're here filming Season 2. What is it like coming in off that wave? How different is it on set now, knowing, everybody's got their rhythm together, and fans have certain expectations? What has that been like on set? Anybody?
It's like having your birthday right after Christmas. And you know it's just far enough away that you're going to get that second present. So it's been a wonderful anticipation, and the juice was worth the squeeze as far as waiting for what we were doing. I'm sitting next to Greg, but no one.
I feel that you're only as good as your next season. So for me, it's more thought, going deeper. I think all of us, going deeper, finding more to extract from the character, and hoping, knowing with Erica and Craig that the second season will be better than the first. We want to keep pleasing you, titillating you, engaging you more. And I think that's what we're doing. So, once you come out the box and everybody says, yay, it's so great, then I get nervous, and my artist ego gets in, and it's like, okay, it's got to be even better this season, So that's where I am about that.
I found a really great new sense of purpose when the show came out and perfect strangers started coming up to me and telling me the most intimate secrets of their life. And I mean, as if I was their pastor, but they would tell me secrets that they just don't express to people. And it put into focus just how powerful the messages that we're putting out there are, and how important this particular kind of storytelling is. So, and to have all of those nerves from the first season settled a little so that we can just really be swaggery a little this year.
What is the key to really pulling off the layered relationships with the family dynamics that you guys seem to so effortlessly display from episode to episode, particularly the scene stealer of them all, Miss Lynn Whitfield, who seems like everybody's mama. How do you do that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Melissa Knowles. I'm from CNN HLN.
Hi, how are you? But the question was, how do we
Pull off that family dynamic so realistically.
Well, it's every actor has a different approach, I guess, but I have to figure out psychologically where she is, acting 101, what her obstacles are, what it is she wants, so once you know, what she wants, what the obstacles are, depending on who is getting in the way of what I want, or who is helping me get, all of that. And it is, it's really funny because, there was Tennessee Williams and now there's Erica and Craig Rudd, because it's complex, it's written. The poetry is written into it. The complexity is there. And so we had it, the roadmap, and now we have to just figure out how to make our way with the truth and the spirit of the characters. I'm always looking for the truth. If I feel that I am not telling the truth, it's really hard for me to put it out there. And I just will ask for another ticket. Keep digging, because that's where the healing is. That's where what we're doing can help to heal families. Presenting the truth of how a brother and a sister, and how we can end up where we are with so much and still so many problems. And the truth of it, I think can bring healing.
I'd also like to add too that, when you book a job and you're going to be spending a lot of time with people, I'm pretty sure all these guys can agree. You think, oh God, I hope I like everybody, and I hope everybody's normal. And I can say that a large part of the chemistry that you see is genuine. These are all a wonderful group of people, and I don't know if Oprah just has some magic dust, but we know she does. She's like everybody's fairy godmother, but we are all aligned in a very special way, and it's been a very divine experience.
Kimberly Isaacs from IHearThatGirl.com. My question is for the ladies in the room. And first of all, I want to say thank you for your representation and carrying yourselves in such grace and class, because I really believe that representation matters. Ms. Whitfield, I watched you growing up, and having that positive, sophisticated person that looks like you as an example, it really matters. It really does matter. So I want to thank you guys for that. But my question is, all of your characters are so diverse, okay? So I know girlfriends that do the things that each one of you guys do. So how do you feel about your characters and the diversity of a Black woman being represented in this show? And what its impact is for other Black girls?
I'll go. I mean, I don't have any hair, so I'm like radical in a lot of different ways in real life, and I love my character. I love Carissa. I look at her and I think, just from the standpoint of audience response and everything, and I honestly think that it's not my job necessarily to always be well-liked as this character, because I know that we all know we have family members like Carissa. We do. My job as an actor is to tell the truth, whether my character is well-liked at the moment or not. And I appreciate the diversity, like just having my character come in and the natural haircut. I've run into quite a few women in the airport who have come up to me, and even here since I've been here in an antique store, that I'm getting my hair cut like yours tomorrow, taking pictures of me in the antique store so that her hairstylist could get it. Just allowing women to embrace who they are, whatever that is, whether it's natural hair or weave or whatever. And also the personality of Carissa. I'm so grateful that Craig, like the words just jumped off the page at me with this character, and she has a very strong point of view, and I'm excited to see that type of diversity represented on our show, and I'm happy to be representing this particular character.
Sure, yes. I'm very happy to know that you don't have to be a size 0 to be on the show. I love Charity's fullness. I love that she is not, she is a woman in every regard. I love the colors that we all display. I think it's such a beautiful range of skin color in this family. And I love that she's her own thing. You know, she's growing up. She's very different from her sister Grace. And in a lot of ways, that's been something that's brought tension between them. But I think she's realizing who she is and the power that she holds, and she's growing up, and I love that about her. And I love, you know, me, myself growing up, I loved being able to see dark-skinned women represented. And I always said to myself, if I ever got the chance, I want to be that for some little girl somewhere thinking, I'm too dark to do this, I'm too big to do this, I don't look like that. I wanted to be that representation. And so I love being that.
Ms. Whitfield, you touched on this briefly, but I'd like to hear from some of the other cast members who mentioned healing, and the creator and writer especially. I know with Oprah Winfrey, intention is big for her. So what specific intention did you have riding this wave into the new season as it relates to the way that the show lands on the viewer this year? Anyone? Well, you kind of talked about healing, but does anyone else have any specific intention?
Is this something you're hearing? Yes. I can talk about it just from my point of view, which is just to be honest. My vision of this has always been that Grace returns to this hardened, dysfunctional structure, and her return breaks it open and sends everything flying. And there's a temptation in TV executives and in every human being. The minute something breaks open, to pretend it didn't break open, make it better, make it nicer, make it less complicated, make me understand quicker where I'm going to land now that I'm exploded and floating through the sky. But I've really tried to fight that. And anytime anyone tells me anything that makes too much sense, I'm like, well, that must not be the answer. The answer must be a little farther down the list, because that's how life works. It doesn't drop you where you think you're going to go. If you get where you think you're going to go, you know you took control, and it's going to come undone all over again. So I've just really tried to be honest in the search for where these people are sailing through the sky after Grace blew it all up. And then Erica and I just count on the actors to let us know when it isn't quite right. And they say, like, I don't feel that, I don't feel this, I don't feel that. And so then we modify it. It's an ongoing conversation all the time. But I feel like this show started as a conversation between me and Oprah about how she got shut down for her questions in the church, and how I had left the church myself. Two different churches, but same experience. And Grace's entry into the family is that conversation, right? And so I'm just trying to keep on having an honest conversation with the show. As ungainly and strange as that might seem moment to moment, that makes it feel real. I want to say one more thing real quick, which is to whoever asked about how do you make these family dynamics seem real. You know, Greenleaf is a sort of weird hybrid. It's sort of half Dynasty and half something we haven't ever seen before. On Dynasty, there's lots of scenes you wouldn't see that are on this show. Plain little dumb scenes between folks, you know. And so that's because I came into this business from 6 Feet Under, which was all that, all the time, right? So this show's like half Dynasty, half that, right? And so I think the part of what makes the show seem real is that it doesn't have this like vicious drive towards soap opera plotting. You never know when it's going to stop and someone's going to tell some story that doesn't matter to anybody but God. You know, it has a naturalness to it. Trees don't grow there; they grow everywhere. They just head towards the light, you know, and the light is everywhere. And I think that's how reality is. That's how the becoming parts of our souls work. And so I think the show has a natural messiness, which makes it seem true. That's my hope, anyway.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. And one of the things that I really love about this show is that constantly surprises me about it as well is that you do get those big flashy moments that just make you run to the water cooler and talk about it. You know, you gotta dish it out the next day. But what I find the most interesting is the internal struggles, the very nuanced, small internal struggles that each character goes through. And I just find our writers do a beautiful job of bringing out those little things. And for example, this season, now that Grace has decided to stick around, whether it's for the legacy of her daughter or if she finds loyalty to her family or anything like that, the Greenleaf legacy is in the church and she finds herself back there. And her journey to figuring out what does she believe? Does she believe this anymore? And I find it very honest and real and true that we have all had that moment, you know, with our higher power or whatever, you know, we're struggling with our spirituality and the wrestle that people can often have with the church, even if it is your family legacy, even if it is what you come from, even what you've known your entire life. Sometimes you have those questions, and I love that Grace is so flawed that way, that she is willing to fight that fight. She's willing to, sometimes begrudgingly, begrudgingly try to figure it out, if nothing else but for her daughter's sake.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the image that comes to my mind is, do y'all remember The Wizard of Oz? Remember, so it's like Greenleaf takes place entirely in the space between when they see behind the curtain and when Dorothy clicks her heels. Right? When Dorothy clicks her heels, the show will be over. She'll have found a way to get back home again. And this show takes entirely place in that space where everything has been demystified. And now we're like, well, now what? How do we get home now? You're not even Oz. Right? That's the entire show in a nutshell.
I'm Harvey Love from Pop Life Radio, and this question is for Erica. I know it's been said a time or two that writers pull from their personal experiences. So how much of the Greenleaf storyline is your personal experience or is taken from your family and your friends?
So I grew up in the church and I'm a part of a church now, a mega church. And for me, of course, you just open the newspaper now and you see all the headlines of all the things, the scandalous stuff that's happening in the church. So some of that comes from those headlines, but also because I've been in the church for a long time, you hear things and you've experienced things now that happen in the church, things that have to do with church politics, things that have to do with people getting their feelings hurt in the church, and it sort of just feeds into the dynamic of the family. So some of it is personal experience, most of it isn't, and a little bit of it all, yeah.
Hi, Mercedes Millionaire from Illusion.Buzz and Diva TV. This question is for Keith David. Congratulations on all your accolades, first of all. You play that character so well. Tell us. Do you have a church background? We all want to know.
Thanks. Yes, I have a church background. I grew up in the church. I used to want to be a preacher. This whole experience is very close to my heart. When I read it the first time, and I think Craig asked me something about what I thought. I immediately, and certainly at this point in my life, I knew I was going to be the dad. But I immediately identified with Bishop because I'm a father of 3 children, and the dynamics with each child being different and being specific and particular, and how you have to deal with them, and how you have feelings of affinity that get broken, and there's hope and disappointment. That's very real to me. I don't think there's a family anywhere that doesn't experience that. And because of those, sort of real human things, it makes this whole experience quite wonderful. And as has been mentioned, when you also have a company of players with whom it is a pleasure and an honor to be around, because they make that easy. I don't ever want to get caught acting. And so, and the wonderful thing between Clement and Craig, Eric, and these people, I don't have to act. I can just behave. And one of the things that kept me from being a preacher, really, frankly, is that I did not think, my great great grandfather was a deacon who founded a church in South Carolina, and my great grandmother used to always talk about a jackleg, and who was a jackleg preacher who would talk the talk, but who would on Saturday night you'd catch him in the bar and then sneaking out the back, and I didn't want to be no jackleg. And I knew that there were certain things to be upheld that I didn't know if I could 100% of the time uphold that. Now, another great thing about this, the preacher is just a man. And if you don't know that, read the paper. The preacher is just a man with familial things that happen, with personal trials that they find very difficult to get through, and we get to explore that. I get to to play that out and to see what the reality of that is. And I think that is also healing, because I've read the paper about some of these ministers, and I wonder how they still have congregations. And I've asked several of them, everybody's has a different opinion about it, but it's very real. So, and I absolutely adore the fact that this man has done things in his past to which there are regrets. But when she comes home to break this thing open, is a point in his life when he is willing to face whatever God has to make him answer for. And then there's the vacillation. Okay, give it to me, God, but not like that. And he has to go through that. And that's phenomenal. It's a gift. I don't know, when's the last time I've had that to be able to do. I hope that answers your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Megan Donovet, donovet.com. Hi, everyone. The show is phenomenal. Really big fan. Two things, the two taboo topics that the show tends to cover extremely well within the Black church are pedophilia and, of course, homosexuality, and particularly the marital couple on the show that everyone loves. They're struggling now with not only a pregnancy, but Ty's character is struggling to fight his gay tendencies. And on season 1, they left off with him seeking to get help on air quotes. I air quote that because I wanted to ask the writers and the actors, in particular, your thoughts around not only carrying out the storyline, which is very, very taboo and everybody has their own opinions about it, but also the Black church's role in particular as far as seeking treatment or help regarding homosexuality or gay tendencies.
I would say the biggest thing about Kevin's storyline is you have to have empathy. And when I first met with Craig and he told me that he wanted me for the role, it was a challenge. But at the same time, it's a real story. And I'm sure if any of you have attended church, you know a Kevin. We've been around a Kevin. Kevin exists right now. And I think the biggest thing we can do as people is just operate from a place of love and understanding. And as far as the storyline goes, we just want to tell it in as truthful way as possible. Honoring what Kevin feels, whether that be he's 100% gay, whether he's bisexual, wherever this journey takes us, we just want to tell it in an authentic way. And luckily I have a phenomenal scene partner that makes it so easy to work off of. Man, I can make them tears go anytime when I'm with her, anytime. But yeah, it's a pleasure and a gift to be able to tell the story, because every character that I have played and I hope to play will be a real person. And it will touch somebody and maybe be a gift in some way to their life, brighten someone's mind, open their mind to a place where they were judgmental at first, and now they understand a little bit more. And that's the truth of Greenleaf in and of itself, is that, yes, we watch for entertainment, but we hope to tell real stories at the same time. Whether it be Greg Allen's character and whatever he's going through, Kevin, everything about the church, we try to tell a real person. And hopefully when they watch this show, someone can identify with each character, whether they know them or they are them themselves.
I will say this, before we came out here, we were cautioned not to give any spoiler alerts, or any spoilers, right? And I'm not going to. except for this one, which I think you all probably know, which is that neither Oprah, nor myself, nor anyone here came to this planet in order to justify conversion therapy.
Yes.
And so, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Kevin's journey is going to take him through a lot of different forms of folly, and as he attempts to deny the reality of who he turns out to be to himself. But we're not going to stop there.
And
I can tell you that.
Also, I find that there is, first, very courageous. It's a courageous storyline to delve into fearlessly, and we all support each other as cast members, when we're hitting a truth that may be uncomfortable for us. But there's a nobility in each one of these people. Each one of these characters is like a nobility, like you feel honored in them somehow. You feel that they do really love each other behind. And he loves his wife enough. It is not about conversion therapy, but out of his desire to save his family, to enjoy his children, he's seeking, And you can never, ever blame anybody or put any political persuasion on a seeker. Seeking to save your family is one of the most noble things that one can do. And I think each character in their own way, even Grace, is trying to do that, in the truth. So that, at the very center of all of this, like they get on each other's nerves for sure, but there is love. And there is a true belief that they've gotten away from a little bit, that each one has a personal relationship with God, just gotten away from it. So I think it's very noble in this character that he's seeking,
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Shanika Taylor, Mad Talking TV, and I feel like everyone kind of danced around it. So this question is for Greg Allen. You play the pedophile, the villain, and a lot of times viewers or the audience aren't able to separate the character themselves from the actor. So I want to know what your challenges are, not only playing in the scene, but actually watching yourself on television to know that you're this guy. And then walking around seeing us, because I'm not going to lie, while I was watching you, I was like, this ain't it.
Well, if you felt that way, that's the way you're supposed to. So when people wag their finger at me and say, "Oh, so is an affirmation that I'm doing my job." It is a courageous storyline. You've never really seen, you've seen shows and stories dance around it, but not meet it head on. In the way, Craig Wright and his team, meet it head on. It's a very weighty, for me, it's a very weighty thing. I didn't realize until recently how weighty this character is for me. I think Meryl Streep mentioned during the Golden Globes, talked about, as actors, we step into the lives of others. This is certainly not a life that anyone would want to step into. And it has taken its toll on me. It is, I'm proud to do it, and I'm proud to do a good job with it. Yeah. But, there's some consequences that come with it. I am very grateful to the audience because I have yet to encounter anyone, who was unable to discern the difference between Greg Allen and the character. Folks are, smile, they wag their finger, then they want to take a selfie, which, and in some instances that can bug me. That we sort of so easily forget that this guy is out there right now. This is not a villain from Mars. This is not an extraterrestrial villain. You know, he walks among us all the time. And I think, and I'm always conscious of that. And that's where part of the weight comes from. Yeah. So, yeah, but as an actor, what a wonderful opportunity to take on a challenging character.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ford, publisher of JubileeMag.com. We're actually a faith-based magazine. So we all know the importance of television. It tells a vision and teaches a lesson. So what is one of the lessons that you want viewers to learn from Greenleaf that are believers that they can take from Greenleaf?
Can I answer?
Sure.
One of those? I'll be one person to answer. You know, like I always try to remind everybody, this whole show happened because Oprah and I started talking. And I think the most important lesson that I think the show wants to teach, and I really hesitate to even say it that way because I don't pretend to have anything to teach anybody. But I think the message of the show is if you have questions about your faith or your family, ask them. Your faith and your family will turn out to be durable and will still be standing after the conversation. Don't sit there with the question and be silent, because that's how things go wrong. God can handle the question. Ask it. Your parents can or cannot handle the question. Ask it. Right? That's what it's for. That's all it is. That's all it is. Oprah asked a bunch of questions, and they said, like, maybe you should go. You know? And I asked a question of my minister when I was an assistant minister, and he said, you know, Craig, you can either work in the church or on the church, but you can't do both. And I was like, okay. Goodbye. So, to me, that's what it's all about. And what's exciting about the show is that as we've created this family, not just these actors, but the writers and the studio and the network, we're all part of the conversation. It's a ferociously collaborative environment. I feel like everybody's questions get to be thrown into the mix. And then also, you know, one other thing. There's a way in which our questions get hampered sometimes by the vehemence in which we ask them. If we come to the table with a bunch of pent-up stuff, the question comes out wrong, the answer turns into a fight, and it all goes wrong, right? So we're also here to check each other like, well, you didn't ask that quite right. You know, can we ask it better so that it can actually get a response? Don't cripple me so much with my own problems. Yeah, I'm speaking as an actor now, right? Help me ask my character's question better. That happens a lot. Because the funny part is, the dirty little secret of this show, to me, which I'll now tell, so it's not that dirty, is that I'm really with Lady May. You know? I'm with Lady May. It's like, to me, it's equal. Everyone thinks like this. The voice of the show is with Grace. It's with both. It's with both. Grace is here to say, break it down. And Lady May is like, well, wait. Well, hang on. You know what I mean? And I
Throw out the baby with the bathwater.
I like both of those sides. But I mean, I think there's something very telling in the fact that when Grace walked up, Lady May said, promise me you're not here to sow discord in the fields of my peace. And that line
I've ever had to speak on.
That line wouldn't have had its elegance if it wasn't from the heart. You know, that there's, Oprah and I both knew that this show was not there to poke at the black church without honoring it. You know what I'm saying? It's both. It's both all the time.
One of the reasons that it answers, this one answer will answer many questions that have come, but for me, I felt so honored to bring this story to life because it demystifies leadership. The Bible said, idol worship is not cool. Putting people on a pedestal and not asking a question, well, who are you and who is your mama? And where did you come from? And what is going on behind your closed doors? So at the end of the day, I feel that this story will encourage people to look past the man and build a more personal relationship. Because you never know. I really feel that what we've been able to achieve, even up till this moment, will allow people, if something funny is going on, that is around that pulpit, when preachers start preaching, from a position of beating you with a ruler, using the word of God, it's like, okay, this is a man, let me check in with my maker. And I felt so honored to be able to humanize leadership without hate or anything, with real compassion, because it's not about the man in the first place, And I think that our show really has begun to achieve that. And you know what? God, the second season, knows what's coming. And if God is good, hallelujah,
I just want to stress one other thing about that. This is the flip side of what I said. I want to be clear. I have so much appreciation and respect for Merle, because she is in the position of having to bear our own self-examination as the people who ask the question. Do you see what I'm saying about that? That Merle shows up and has to act that part out. And I'm looking at my own journey, right, and saying, ask the question better. Right? I'm therapizing my own journey. You know what I'm saying? All of us are saying, we're not going to get through if we don't ask the question better. Keep trying to ask it better. And she, poor thing, has to, deal with that. Episode after episode of people saying, no, that's not, you know what I mean? Imagine pounding at a door that long. Boy, I hope this season she gets to solve it.
I also feel like, my grandmother used to say, my God is a good God. And I hope that you ultimately discover that there is redemption in the journey if you ask sincerely and do your part of it. You can't just say, God, help me, get me out of this, and then wait for it to happen without doing it. And much of the time, that's what happens. Oh, God, I'm sorry, get me out of this. But you ain't doing anything to get you out of it. You're just waiting for something, for the sky to part and the thunder to come down. All of a sudden, it's not there anymore. Well, that's not what life is. And this does give you a chance to see, well, life is like that. Oh, shucks. It does happen. So if you walk away with that, then you understand your responsibility to your relationship.
One of the eye-opening things for me is because, for me, with the fans, I love to interact with my fans. So, you follow me on Twitter? No. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I actually talk to my fans. And I've had in-depth discussions with my fans about my character and other people's characters and choices that the characters are making. And I hope I can express this in the way that I'm thinking it and feeling it. But a lot of times, at least when I grew up in the church, it was fire and brimstone. And you were going to go to hell if you didn't blah, blah, blah. It was black and white. And what I have found with this show as a growing lesson for me, and also just in conversations with fans of the show, that a lot of our real life existence is in the gray area. It's not in the black and white. And so what I think has happened with the show and the writing, and my character in particular, staying with a man that was unfaithful, and a lot of times people wanted to make that black and white, and I had to come in and have discussions with people, to defend my character, but also to have self-analysis for myself. what's the gray area of this? And it's okay to live in the gray. And I think that's what the questions are. And the waiting for the deliverance or the answers to those questions. So that's something that I hope that people will watch this show and take away from the show and embrace the gray areas of life and being okay residing in those areas in order to ascend to the next plateau.
I think one of the things that my mantra is, many months ago I was told that one of the things that Miss Winfrey wanted to explore and to make clear in the show is that abusers are seducers. And so for me, that's a driving force behind my interpretation of the character and my work. You know, we want to think of these kinds of guys as caped and hooded evil people who snatch children into alleys and cars and abuse them and insult them to the highest bidder. The truth is that they are seducers, and in order to seduce children, they have to be in regular and constant contact with children. So for me, you know, the takeaway for me, for the audience is pay attention. You know, this is an uncle, an official of the church council, a prominent man in the town, you see. And the one we would least suspect. So, and we don't want this sort of evil and misguided motivation to be among us. We don't want that. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. But the truth is that abusers are seducers. So that's a powerful, powerful message for me that I think the audience can do well to pay attention to.
Which is something that happens in all cultures, and you know, we are who we are, but denial and blind eyes to truths. You know, why did Lady May know? Sometimes the way the psyche works and the work that it takes to get through such a gray and dangerous area, you know, you just enter a state of blind denial. And you know, the turn away, or here's something else we do that I think the show will be so great for, Greg, is, you know, no, you did see what you saw. You know, so often we see and we say, oh, we didn't see that, that couldn't be. No, you know, so that area of what is going on in your home, what is going on with your children, and how honest are you in your heart and your soul, and that little thing that does like this on you, you're like, oh, that's nothing, it's nothing. No, we just at least need to pay attention. And I think, Greg, that's what you were saying, you know, we need to be alert and aware.
We have a last question here. Hello, Jonelle with Rolling Out. One of the things, the beauty of Greenleaf is that watching this show, it does humanize people in the pulpit, because sometimes you look at these people on different levels, but it shows people are people first, regardless of what religion they have, regardless of what they believe in, they're still people first. So just because that exists, that doesn't mean Kim gets to have to deal with the cheating husband. That doesn't mean Miss Winans' situation still has to deal with Ty and all the other things. So that's kind of the mystery of it, because it's like, how will it be fixed? With that being said, how do you maintain these scripts in advance with all of these different scenarios going on?
Oh, we don't. Not at all. I shouldn't be sitting here today. I should be typing. Maybe you're the problem. I think, if for people that were smarter than me, or if Eric was just totally in charge, maybe it would be easier. Unfortunately, I'm involved, and so it slows things down. But it's hard. It's hard. And it's also hard, just to be really honest, it's hard because there's some part of me, and I think all of the writers, we have to kind of live it. And it's hard to know what to do next until you really live the last move. And so that's the reason why when the actors wish they could get their script sooner, or production wishes they could, it's like, we haven't fully felt what it meant to do that yet. It's like really felt it. So that's really hard. I'm not making, here, I really got to stress, I really hate this whole thing that's happened in the past 10 years where showrunners of TV shows are like heroes. That ain't real. But it is hard. If you really, because it's not hard if you just fill up the TV up with TV crap. But if you don't do that, and you're really trying to ask the real question, you kind of have to live it. And so what really would be the next thing to do? And I'm sorry, but for me, I'm so dumb, I have to try a few things before I get it right. And so it's really hard. Yeah. These guys are very gracious and patient and polite to sit and wait for things.
Well, and that's the beauty of Keith David, Dean Williams, and Lynn Whitfield, because they have their own aura about their whole skill in being an actor that it brings them all to life.
Well, honestly, if we could make a machine where they could it's like, I don't know, I have an image in my head where they could write the show from up underneath it and just drop the pages into the office, and then we would just put it together, kind of. I would love that.
What Craig and Oprah and the writers have been courageous enough to do. I mean, if this were a procedural show, we found the body at 10 p.m. We've, extracted done all of the forensics, and no. Every character in this show is driven. So this is a character-driven show for every character. And that is what is so complex about what they have to do, because everybody's seeking something and they have to do I don't know how you do it. I would have a headache every day. Can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing? I know you guys have other things to do. I just want to stress, this is a question no one's asked, but I'm going to answer it. Okay. I'm just going to take advantage of the moment. Just how I am. Huh?
I don't want to know if you're on any medication.
Okay, I won't.
Don't tell me.
No, why was really medication?
No.
Oh, you think because I'm getting all that work done? No, I remember last year. Were any of you here for any of the press that we did about the first season?
Yeah.
Now, if y'all remember, I told this story about the day I got this job. I got this tattoo. It's here and here. This is I met Oprah, and my deal was I'm gonna take in information from people. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna try to stay out of the way. And I got that tattoo, right? And I talked about that. Well, I just got this one, and I just wanted to tell y'all what it means, because we're talking about TV today, and TV's wonderful, and it gives us something to do at the end of the day, and that's good. But this tattoo is an I Ching hexagram. It means controlled power. It means use your power wisely with an awareness of the wholeness of the universe and other things. And I just wanted to say that the reason I got this tattoo, which I'm excited you asked me about, is I just wanted to say this. Until the rule of law and the standards of common decency are restored in this country, no rest. Until the rule of law and the standards of common decency are restored in this country, no silence. And until the rule of law and the standards of common decency are restored in this country, no peace.
And on that note, we are going to give our cast a round of applause. Our guests to hold. The photographer would like to have a group photo with you if you guys would just stand.